Hey, what's up, everybody? How's it going this week? I hope everyone is having a fantastic week as we're getting to the, I don't know if it's the end of summer. Where I live,
what's up, everybody?
Every time
How's it going this week?
we forget.
I hope everyone is having a fantastic week as we're...
There you go. Yeah, where I live, the summers, we got a long way to go. So anyways, let's see what's going on. We got a lot of questions. A lot of stuff happened this week. I want to talk about some stuff. First thing I want to share with you, I'm going to share some stuff, and then I see some pinned questions already, so we'll get into questions. The first thing I want to share with you guys is something I'm pretty excited about. There's the knowyourgear.net website. We've had that up, but as you can see, we've done some refinements to it. And this is important because this is kind of like community building stuff. So the first thing I want to show you guys, which is cool, is almost weekly, if not bi-weekly, we have a history of gear articles, as you can see right here. You can find out more. You can click that. Actually, let me just do it this way. Click that, and you can see every week there's an article about a piece of gear or music and history. So if you're interested in gear, which I'm sure you are, you can check out every week a cool article about gear. The other thing that's important is now a new feature on the website is you can also download all of the sheets. So the inspection sheets, tool sheets, there's going to be a lot of stuff being added, including an entire list of all the tools I own and how I use them. Before there's even a video, there'll be a sheet explaining that. You can send us your pictures of you with your t-shirts, and then do me a huge favor out there, those of you that have shirts and sent pictures in, if you go here on this page and don't see yourself on this page, please let me know. Just send me an email. You can send it to pmcknight7@gmail with the caption picture, especially a picture missing would even be better. That way I know something's up. Another new feature on the website that's important is the Ask the Crew. So if you click here, you can ask questions, and sometimes it'll be me, but sometimes it'll be other crew members. But more importantly, the crew members will not answer any questions they don't feel confident they at least can understand or help you with. If they can't, then they'll forward it on to me. That's how the process will work, so we can get some community out there, right? Get you guys helped out with some questions. And of course, what you guys asked for and helps the channel immensely is a merch store. So there's a merch store. Obviously, we have new picks, new stickers, the shirt of the month, which is an SG style guitar, which you guys have been asking for. Obviously, the female shirt as well, which is doing really well. So all the stuff you can, including used gear and something new and fresh coming as well. And there's a ton of other features on the website that we won't go over. I don't want to go too long. But real quick, I do want to do a shout out for the patrons that sponsor the channel, the website, the podcast, especially because there is no sponsors for podcasts. So when I upload podcast and the website, it's 100% funded by Patreon. So Brad Gillis, Jeff Howes, Zachary Rowe, Michael Newman, Bruce, and the One Blood Wee Band. Sorry, Bruce. Hannah Gunson, John Jex, Michael Shy, Justin Mabe, David Madison, Lawrence Petros from LPD Pedals. And I'm going to start doing just 10 a week every week because there's 40 of the main sponsors. So that will get 10 a week. But I do want to say a big thank you to Bob. See, I'm messing it up again, Bob Pickwood. I've been saying Bob Pickwood this entire time, and he met me at the Restring event and was very nice to point out it's Bob Pickwood. Plus, he gave me a cool pedal, which I'm checking out this week as we speak. And also, he bought donuts for everybody at the event. Bob, that was really, really cool to do. Ralph really enjoyed it. So thank you again for that. A couple things. Let's get into stuff. There's already a bunch of us here and got some great questions. The first one is from Andrew, and Andrew wants to know, what do I think of the JHS Black Box? The JHS Black Box is a pedal that you can check it out right here, that goes in your effects loop. So this is not a new concept. It's essentially putting a volume knob in your effects loop. So you send in the output of the effects loop of your amp and to the input of this pedal out to the back into the input of the amp. I don't know if this thing requires power. I'm not really sure. I haven't looked. That's a big factor for me because otherwise it could just be a volume potentiometer. I've seen people make these things for $10, $15 and then even sell them for that. So I don't know what, I'm looking to see if there's a power supply in it. But to answer your question, the question is, what do I think of this versus a a attenuator. Obviously, I did attenuators. I prefer attenuators, but not every situation calls for an attenuator. Sometimes when you're just playing quiet at night. However, I will say this. I want to see if I have one in reach shot. I do. Look at that. Without a doubt, I like EQ pedals for that feature more. You can use a volume pedal if you have one. To me, more so than that pedal, I would spend, that's $45, very fair price, because you know it's not like $100 pedal. But to me, if I was going to buy that pedal, I'd buy an actual volume pedal, because that way I have a volume pedal when I'm not using it for that feature. So a volume pedal for sure. But the biggest problem with that system that they're doing is sometimes when you do that, as you kind of use that as it's what you're doing is you're just adding a master volume to the amp. So the amp gets a little squishy, gets a little thing, and it thins out a little bit when you turn it down. EQ pedals will fix that as well. So sometimes EQ pedals will work a little better. You can even use a boost pedal as long as it's not too out of control, but especially if it's EQ section, like the Buxom Boost and pedals like that. So like I said, the JHS pedal, I'm sure the quality is good. I'm sure it's a good pedal, but there's some other options out there. And I think, I just don't know if there's any options out there for $45. That's a pretty reasonable price, other than just making one for yourself. Next question that we have was, man, you guys are really talking about attenuators too. So let's, okay, so Nathan's question ties into the first question, which was an attenuator versus a drive pedal for low volume drive, question mark. So the question is, which one do I prefer, or which one, do I recommend? Again, I always will cite what I do versus, what I think anybody else should do, because it's easier for me to say this is what I do. I use a drive pedal for low volume playing more than an attenuator. An attenuator for me is I'm in love with the amp, or I want the amp. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'm just in the mood for the amp, and I'll use the attenuator to drive that down. But I usually don't use that for like late night playing. I just use it to get the amp that I want at a more reasonable tone or reasonable volume. But if I'm playing late at night and the amp doesn't get quiet for me, I'll use a pedal. Sometimes it's just easier to front the amps with pedals. So that's what I'll do more so than use the attenuator. But I use both because there's something magical about both in the way they do. The attenuator to me gives me more of the amp response at the lower volumes, and the pedal just gives me it's easy, right? I don't have to worry about extra speaker cables, extra anything. I just plug it in, and sometimes I just have a pedal board ready to go. So it's an easy thing to do. And then I see, hold on a second, refreshing this to get some super chats in there. It's because I'm pinning those as well, so we can get to, I'm trying to get the equal amounts of both. I know, hey, the super chat thing went offline. Let's try that again. I think YouTube's messing with us. Okay, here it is, right here. Okay, Alexander says, Phil, love the show. Thoughts on Ocean's 11 reverb pedal? The Ocean 11 reverb pedal is a really good pedal. If you guys haven't checked it out, let's go ahead and plug that in as well. We'll show you guys. Because reverb pedals are tricky. I think there's definitely, reverb pedals are really expensive. And I know it gets scary because, hold on a second as I type here. Because they're so expensive and they all sound somewhat alike. So the Ocean's 11 reverb pedal is a pretty realistically priced pedal for $150 from Electro Harmonics. But it's not my preferred choice, but I've heard so many good things, and I like Electro Harmonics for reverb pedals. I think you could be happy with it. So next one is from David. He says, hey Phil, been getting back into guitar after 20 years of being a failure at it. Hey, you're not a failure at it. This isn't a pep talk. David, I'd love to give you a pep talk. It's more of a philosophy. I don't think when people say, oh, I stopped playing guitar for 20 years or 10 years, or I played guitar as a kid and now I'm taking it back up, all those statements, I always tell people, especially even when they're younger, I say, you never quit guitar. You're just not practicing. And the reason I say that is because I think a lot of people get in a mentality of, well, I haven't played my guitar in a couple of years. I don't want to relearn it again. I'm like, no. You know what I mean? Just some players wait hours before playing guitar again. Some plays days, weeks. You get the idea. So, it's just on hiatus. And it says, okay, so anyways, the next thing it says, always had a collapsing pinky. Any tricks to fixing that? So that's an interesting statement because, we're in a show like this, we're definitely dealing with verbal right? There's some visual, but I can't see what you're talking about. My pinky does this thing. I'll do it. That. Sometimes I don't know if that's what you mean. My pinky will lock and then it won't bend right. And I've had that. See, oh, I'm doing it right now. See, it'll do that. Sometimes when I'm playing, all of a sudden it will lock. It's not very common. It's been doing it since I was like 16. So if anyone out there is like, I think you got rheumatoid arthritis, who knows? But I can tell you this: whatever it is, I've been doing it since I was 16. So collapsing pinkies, yes. Well, here's the thing. Here's the good bad news for you. I think this everybody has pinky problems when it comes to playing guitar. Everybody. I've never met anyone who's like, yeah, the pinky was the easiest thing. It is the weakest finger. It's a little weird. We don't use it a lot. Think about in your day-to-day usage. You know what I mean? Other than now keyboard typing and stuff, you're just not using the pinky that much. So the muscle memory of it is a mess. So there is exercises you can do besides scales, of course. There's the spider crawl, which is a type of scale. But my advice to you, if you're having any finger issues like that, is to make sure two things. Make sure you are stretching and resting your fingers properly so that they don't cramp up. But more importantly, that you're doing scales. If you have finger strength issues, unfortunately, scales are, there's a reason why people just tell you to play those scales. Scales help a lot. But there's a ton of other tricks out there. This is a good point later in the rebroadcast for a lot of you to put the tricks that you've used or had teachers tell you that have been helpful, because my recommendations work for me, but I'd like to hear what's worked for you. Okay, so next is from Jeremy. He says, help, please, exclamation point. So Jeremy's pretty concerned about this. I need to do some fret work, crown and level on my Made in Mexico telly. Never done fret work before. What do I need to not hurt anything? Well, Jeremy, unfortunately, that's not an easy, like, hey, let's start your fix with doing fret work. Crown and level is not a hard task to do. I think it could be mastered relatively easily, but it's not easy. So there's just no way I could, the best advice, again, the best advice for you is the advice I give myself or I live by. I would find a local guy to do your crown and level that you can trust, get some good recommendations from the shop, and then ask if you can be there to learn. A lot of techs don't want you looking over the shoulders, but I can tell you hundreds, if not thousands of people can attest that I let anybody look at me when I was working on guitars in the shop. I have no problem letting anybody see what I'm doing. And, but that's not because of my work is so great that I don't mind, people seeing it. It's because I don't have any anxiety issues with people watching me. So some techs might not be deceptive by not letting you want to see. They just might not enjoy people watching them. So, but that's the best way to learn, more so than any videos or anything else. Other than that, there are videos to do, but I am working on those exact things right now, those tutorials. Something I worked on about a year ago. We talked about a year ago. I actually had to pen all that stuff. And the reason was it was about timing. And the timing was, if you guys seen the channel over the years, I started this channel with no idea about YouTube. I just started posting videos like anybody else would. So I've had to learning curve, teach myself even how to turn on a camera at this point. So I wanted to get to a point where I can actually be able to put these together somewhat well. So, okay. Alex says, did you fix the raised grain on your Fender? Thank you. I have, and I did video it. And we talked about that, and that's something, again, I'm going to release. So something that is going to be changing on the channel, maybe it's a good time to make some announcements. This is the first live show in August, so there's a couple of changes, I think, that are cool. One of the first changes is I'm not releasing videos anymore unless I have 10 of them. So whenever you see a video like in a series now, whether that was a Sharpen My Axe or if it's going to be this, there's a new series that's kind of cool that I'm excited about that I'm 4 deep into right now. And I'm just done. What happens when I release videos, I feel like it's great because you just like I get inspired by other channels and stuff. The channels get really inspired real fast and they start making clone type videos. And I don't mean copying. We're talking about inspiration. They go, hey, that's a great idea. I'll do something like that on my channel. And what I want to do is just be done with it. So I'm doing all the series now in 10s. If I have 10 episodes, if not, I'll do less or more. But but that's not going to gap anything. You'll notice just as videos coming out. Wednesday's video was the first in the new series of kind of like a new idea I had of reviewing stuff instead of just one review per week, maybe doing multiple reviews and edit them based on how interesting the product is. So if the product's kind of not that interesting to me, I give it 2 minutes. If it's really cool to me, I give it 10 minutes. And hopefully, you know, you'll bond the same way with that. So we'll see how that goes. Okay. What else do we have? We have, let's see. Let's go back. Hold on a second as I jump screen again. I'm scrolling down because sometimes when you guys are posting comments, they jump a lot. Okay, so this is a question. It says, thoughts on semi-affordable OM-sized acoustic Sigma Martin other. Yeah, I mean, there's tons of those models out there. Obviously, I like Washburn a lot in the lower price range. I think they make good stuff. I think Alvarez makes good stuff. I like Yamaha. I mean, you're mentioning Sigma, which is obviously a great brand as well for affordable. Martin obviously is great, but I don't know if I would call them affordable. You did say semi-affordable, so I'm not sure what that means, but I'll say in the semi-affordable, I'm going to say $500 to $600. Again, you know, it's tough. Somebody right now is probably screaming, "What, are you crazy?" Both directions, by the way. Somebody's like, you know, I think 2,000 semi-affordable, and somebody's thinking, I think $100 semi-affordable. But I can only, you know, give you kind of what I kind of think the market bears for guitars. I really like the Martins for the semi-affordable stuff. The new ones that have, well, they're not new, but the ones that have the you know, the laminate, you know, the countertop laminate stuff. The interesting thing is that I wanted to buy one at the Sam Mash event, but I didn't get to go in the acoustic room. So let's see. Next question. And some of these questions get tough because you guys are talking to each other, so I'm not sure what you're directing towards me. So I will, if it's so nowadays we might have to put Phil or to actually address it to me because I'm not sure who you guys are talking to when you guys are when you're answering questions. Okay. I'm proofing some questions real quick, just because again I don't want to answer questions that are already been answered by somebody else and not directed towards me, because you guys kind of like now chatting between each other, which is awesome. Okay. Any thoughts? Oh, okay. On the oral imagination. I don't know what that is. So I'm going to, because I'm curious. Some things are interesting to me. I definitely want to pin them and look them up. Let's take a look. Because some of the fun thing about this is I get to hear what you guys are up to, you know, and what's going on out there. I'm going to assume it's a pedal. It looks like a pedal. No, that's Oriole Dream. I don't know. You know what? I don't know what it is. So I guess my thoughts are I don't know what it is. There's too many products. That's kind of how I feel sometimes. You know what? For the last year or two, some of you guys make comments, there's too many products. I go, you know what? There's just products for everybody. But even I'm like getting to the point where I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I could, if I can keep up with all this stuff. I mean, I read about gear almost every day. No, actually every day. There's no almost. Let's just be straight up with that. What else? Yeah, Ghost wants me to play that Jazz Master. I was playing it earlier today. That's why it's there. It's my guitar with 11s on it, so I like it. This is the question always get asked, Will, but you know, I'm in the mood for it. It says, Phil, if you could only have one guitar of your collection and a desert island guitar. The reason I want to answer this is because I've answered so many times. I'm just curious to see in my own head if it's the same answer. I'm pretty sure what I've always said in the past, what I say now. I take my copper Strat or any Strat. My PRS Mira is definitely one that's in a candidate, but it's mostly a Strat. And that Army Green Strat I've been using, or the antique olive, I don't know, it's green. But Strat, I don't care which Strat. don't really have, so I kind of bond with certain Strats differently all the time, but really just any Strat's fine, especially if it's a humbucker. So, let's see. Okay, next question is from Matthew. Says, Phil, are you keeping the Eastwood? Eastwood's right there. Yeah, I was playing that actually literally before the live show started. That's why it's in a guitar stand. I was going through it and stuff. So keeping stuff, I don't know. I never know the answer to that. There's two factors that happen. I'd like to say, I'd like to keep everything and it's possible. But the reality is that sometimes stuff goes just because it's time to fund things. I did a mass sell-off last year of gear around October to fund all the new stuff, the new computer and all the new stuff. And, I took some of the patron funds and some of the money I sold for my gear and put it into microphones and, and recording gear. One of the things about the YouTube channel that is what I don't think people understand is that your channel at a certain point becomes a channel and not just a guy hanging out, checking out gear. You know what I mean? Because it's just, you get so much criticism all the time. You kind of lean into it. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, that's too grainy. That's too dark. That needs better audio. I need a better input system. So you buy all this gear. Next thing you know, you have like 4K cameras and you have all this stuff. And, I don't know. So anyway, so sometimes you're just like, maybe I'll let some of this go to compensate this. The other thing too is the channel ends up almost net zero, not making anything. At this point, if you factor in your time, you get a little run down by it. Especially me, because I still have other work I have to do. So I do that, and then I do the YouTube. But that being said, I'd like to keep everything that comes in because it's cool. I like having cool gear. It's fun to play it, but that's not how it always works. Okay, so next question is, how do I decide which hat I wear? Well, it's easy for me because all my hats are the same hat. I probably have 20 hats. I'm just grabbing hats right now. In fact, there's probably 3 behind. All my hats are black and have different logos. This is Vans, Adidas. Most of them are Vans. You'll notice like almost all my hats are Vans. So pretty boring. So okay, so what else do we got going on? Dean wants to know if I've tried the Digitech Ventra Vibe. I have. I did. I thought it was okay. Actually, I tried it from my friend and he didn't like it, so he got rid of it. So I thought it was okay. But there's other pedals I prefer over that. So that's pretty much the problem. Alzar's got a tricky question. He says, tricky question, but what are your thoughts on having your tone versus sounding like everyone else? Oh, you know what? That's a great question. Well, what's funny is that's one of the downfalls. That's actually, you know what? That's not a tricky question, Alzar. That's a fantastic question. One thing I find interesting is I've spent, it's almost like destructive in this point, what I do now. I spent a long time trying to create, I want to say a style, whether it's good or not is relevant. It's mine. It's a style, a way I play. I think I have a unique way of bending. And when I mean unique, I mean, I'm sure there's 1,000 players that do it and do it better, millions, whatever. But again, style, the tone, and the tone I like is a certain kind of tone, and I crafted it this way. And I find that when I try and use that tone or style on YouTube, not for reviews, just on any kind of video, the pushback is always that it doesn't sound like. There seems to be this new concept, which I was not aware of until I started getting heavy into the YouTube videos, where there's a lot of players out there that literally just live for sounding like somebody else. I love sounding like somebody else, like the Eddie Van Halen guitar. I like taking that Eddie Van Halen guitar and plugging it into EVH amp and playing some Eddie Van Halen licks. It's just fun. But, then sometimes I like trying to come up with my own thing. So it's funny. I think there's definitely a trick to it. So that's my thoughts on whether or not your tone versus sounding like someone else. I think everybody should have their own tone. That is definitely what it is. But the nice thing is this. What I've discovered for me personally, and watching and listening to lots of players and friends, is everybody kind of has their own tone because Even when you try and nail somebody else's sound, you screw it up, and then that becomes your sound. The best comment, I've heard so many musicians, you can go on YouTube and just, shake a stick and you'll see it. George Lynch has said it, I know for a fact. John Mayer said it for a fact. Almost identical quotes by saying, my failure to sound like somebody else is how I got my sound. I was trying to get this technique and I couldn't get it right, and then I got my own thing going. So there you go. Jeffrey White says, hey, Phil, thoughts on the Supersonic 60? The Supersonic 60, I have the 22. The Supersonic 60, which I originally had, I think has the distortion channel or the overdrive channel on both the amps. To me, are the same. There's something cool about them. The 22 for me is by far superior in the clean tone. And my reasoning for that is I did not like the Supersonic 60's clean sound. It was too sterile. It was clean, but it just didn't have any life to it or any kind of like, I like the clean to have a little bit of sponginess, a little bit of chime. You know what I mean? You're looking for that kind of perfect world of clean. And really what's sad is all the cleans I love usually don't have a good gain channel. That's usually the problem. So the Supersonic 22 for me is like it's a really good meet in the middle kind of amp. It's like the gain isn't my favorite gain and the clean isn't my favorite clean, but the two combined are really good, and I get something that I can totally use, and I like that. I like that a lot. But the 60s, but I think unless things have changed, the 60 is really smoking good deals. You can find the 60s for great deals. The other thing I didn't like about the Supersonic 60, by the way, is if you get the Supersonic 60 head, there's no reverb, where they fixed that when they need the Supersonic 22 head, you get reverb. On the combo, it won't matter. Either one has reverb. The other advantage of the Supersonic 60 is that it has volume controls. It has two volume controls on the effects loop. So you can use a short jumper cable, a little 6-inch cable in the effects loop. And what we were talking about earlier with that JHS pedal and stuff, it'll just do that by itself with a cable. So something to think about. That's a nice feature on that. So I like I said, I like the amp. The Supersonic 60 is definitely an amp I really like. But I like the Supersonic 22 much more. Plus, another thing is the Supersonic 22 is a little lighter, a little easier on the old shoulder and back. And I have no problem getting the clean to sustain at 22 watts. But I'm not playing in a hard, heavy band. There's not a lot of volume there. Cake Man says, hey, Phil, thoughts on travel guitars? I don't like travel guitars. I don't like travel guitars because for me, I never use them. It's this grandiose idea that just doesn't exist. You take them to your hotel room, whether you're going on a family vacation. I take them on the family vacation and I play in the family size because, and what are you going to play it when the kids are sleeping in the room next door? Or you go on a business trip and you're in a hotel room and you think you're going to play. But then what happens with me is you get home and you're kind of tired or get back to the hotel room. So travel guitars don't really do it for me. So what I have in place is I use a ukulele. I like ukuleles. I have a 6-string ukulele, which is a blast. I take a 4-string ukulele sometimes, which is a blast. Very vacation vibing instrument. You can play it. People have fun around you. But it's a nice instrument to take. And what I love now is you take my phone and I pull it out and I learn some ukulele stuff. If you play guitar, you can play ukulele in about 15 minutes. And I'm being nice. At 16 minutes, start questioning yourself. Because when I say 15 minutes, you should have it nailed faster than that. It's a very, 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 very easy instrument. Plus, I love telling this to everybody, so if you think the ukulele is cool, I'm pretty sure you're under 26 years of age. And if you think ukulele is kind of like lame, you're probably older. Whether you realize it or not, the majority of ukuleles are sold to young kids being, 12 to 26 in that demographic. So ukulele is a very trendy instrument right now and has been for almost a decade. There's a lot of great stuff online to learn about the ukulele. I do have a mini Jackson guitar and I have taken that. And so, I love that guitar. It's fun, but I find myself not playing it again because I have to plug into an amp and all that stuff. So, and if I'm going to go somewhere for like a week, I take a full-size guitar. So, all right. What else you guys got? So Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of you guys got cool travel guitars. I've owned so many of the travel guitars, guys. I mean, realistically, I mean, you could start naming them if you want now, and I'll tell you if I owned them. At least 6 or 7. The travel brand guitars, I've owned it. Somebody was saying the Papoose by Takamine. Yep. I've had the Mini Martin, the Mini Washburn, which is a copy of that, the Mini Baby Taylor. I've tried all that stuff. The Baby Taylor is probably one of my favorite things. Definitely in the mini guitar world, the little acoustics are, to me, funner than the little electrics. Again, because, you know, you like I said, you just don't use them as much. It's fun. Plus, I like to be inclusive and not exclusive. So I want my family involved in, you know, so if I have something that's fun to play, I can play some stuff. To me, it's just about playing. You know what I mean? I'm not really trying to keep my regimented practice habits when I'm on vacation or traveling. I'm just trying to keep my fingers limber and keep playing and having fun. So there you go. Yeah, Beatmaster says, so it's a bad idea to bring a double neck SG on travels. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. So let's see. What else you guys got? What else is interesting out there? It's been an interesting week. My week has been super, super busy, so I didn't get to see a lot of stuff, what's going on out there. And somebody was asking me about new gear. I do have some interesting new gear you'll see this week coming up on the Wednesday show. Some stuff I was actually shocked about. A little cool stuff. Okay. Guitar Hack says, Phil McKnight, that's me. Any suggestions for a 212 cab to go with your Marshall Origin 50-watt head? 212 cabinet from the Marshall. I mean, my favorite is going to be the 1936 by Marshall. That's probably one of my favorite 212 cabinets of all time. It's a hefty price tag, though. Even used, you're sitting in a $600 range. But they do make an inexpensive version of that Marshall cabinet. And Marshall does, and it's like $299 or $399. That one's a pretty good one. So something like that. I really like Attenuator cabinets. I think Attenuator cabinets are one of those cabinets that just anytime you go out there, you can scoop them up for a deal. Built well, they look cool, they got a cool vibe. I don't know if you need the cabinet to match, but that's definitely where you can get yourself a 212 for some short money, because I mean, you know, cabinets are just expensive. I mean, it's getting to the point now where you pay, you know, whatever, $700 for that 50-watt head, and the cabinet's $1,700. It's getting tough, man. It's getting tough. Seeing somebody saying the Mitchell cabinet, yeah, there's a ton of great cabinets, but I like the 2061 CX might work. I have that cabinet, Phil Smith. That's a great cabinet, but again, I own 2 of them actually, and I think they're I think I paid $800 a piece, something like that. I mean, they're just, and those, you know, the 2061 CX, this is maybe a slam against Marshall, but it's just, I like the cabinet. I use it a lot. Like I said, I have 2 of them, but I'd like to point out 2 things. One, I think it's kind of BS that they have a particle board back. I thought that was kind of a joke for $800, and they don't come with wheels. The wheels thing, I understand. I mean, I wish it had wheels. It makes sense. I installed the wheels myself, you know, pop-out wheels, but I don't know. I just hate it when you know, to me at that price point, I'm getting all plywood, right? I mean, something. Particle board just seemed weird, but you know, and it might have, I don't know. I can't say that's a tonal property. Hey, the backboard. You know why I call it BS is because the old ones, the old Marshall 212 slant cabinets had ply backs. So the thing I don't like is that adds weight to the cabinet. It doesn't add anything, and it's cheaper. You know what I mean? Cheaper. So I mean, at $900, $899, $800, $900, you think I'd hit a price point where I get what I get quality all through. So that's my thing. That's why I like Mesa cabinets are really good too. But they're pricey. They're very pricey. Okay, what else do we got? You guys got lots of good questions today. Trying to get the dog paw says, any updates on lace pickups? No, man, they didn't care. You know, I have a theory that a lot of these companies are just going out of business. So, and it's just there's a lot of companies in the last 3 or 4 months that I've been privy to some unfortunately non-disclosable information that just seems like there's a lot of companies about to phase out. I don't know anything about lace, but There's just so many companies now. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know. Like I said, I won't buy a lace pickup again, though. There's a bunch of products. I have a list of products. Maybe that'd be a video. Products I'll never buy again and why. So not to slam the companies, but maybe just to guys, it's a review, right? You do a review and you talk about what your good and bad experiences. So to me, like the lace pickup thing, that's where a lot of times when we talk about, I'd be positive on a review and I try to stay positive on a review because opinion, about sound is hard to say is like, oh, this sounds horrible, so don't buy that. I just can't do that. I could say like, it's not my cup of tea or whatever, but there's people out there that love this product. Lace pickups was defectiveness. There's just a defectiveness over the quality, and the quality isn't there right now. So, yeah. And what's funny is their customer service never even responded to any of my emails. So I sent the product back. I got a refund from the retailer. I'm sure the retailer got hosed a little bit. I'm sure they ate the return shipping. I tried to save the retailer money. I told them, I said, why can't I just ship the defective product back to Lace? So Lace has to deal with it. You know what I mean? But the retailer took the brunt of it, and good for them for taking care of me, the customer. And, but I hate to see that. Jamie's got a question. It says, what guitarist would you like to see come out with a signature model guitar? Someone who doesn't already have one. Well, I think everybody has one. I'm laughing because I'm like, you know what? I think the list of people who don't have a signature guitar versus do is pretty tricky. There's guitar players like, think of this, like Mick Mars said he would never do a signature guitar and he doesn't have one. I don't know. Every guitar player I like has a signature guitar. Is that, I'm trying to, well, what's sad is one of my favorite, no, you know what? Yeah, it gets tough. So I don't know. I'd like to hear you guys' comments who put them in the suggestions down below. I'll keep thinking about it as we go. I'm trying to think of any guitar player that I know that I like that doesn't have a signature guitar. And so, that's not a dig against signature guitars. I own and love a bunch of them. I mean, there's obviously a blatantly obvious signature guitar right there. Signature guitars, I think, are a great idea. Some people don't like them because, they think if you own one, you're a poser. Hey, that's a good argument. There's nothing wrong with that argument. For me, what I've learned messing with the guitars is that the signature guitars sometimes are just, they're upgrades or adjustments that I think the guitar needed, or they're just nice. So there's a lot of cool things to signature guitars. Let's see. Somebody said, Beatmaster says Lenny Kravitz, right? It would be interesting to see, what I'd like to see is like, some guitar players, I don't know. This is going to be the worst answer ever. You guys are going to kill me on the internet. I don't care. I like to see Tyler Larson from Music Is Win get a signature guitar. I've said that to him personally, so I think. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it to him. I'd like him to see, I'd like to see somebody with a channel get a signature guitar. Because like Fluff's got one, right? With Bala Gear guitars. I'd like to see Tyler Larson get like an SE model, PRS SE. And there's a reason for that. There's a lot of reasons for that. And I think it's because obviously he's a fan of PRS, and I think he shows that. He's obviously a very good player. He's obviously got influence in the market. Some people probably, I don't know, whatever you guys think, I guess you're wrong, because the truth is the kid's everywhere. Like I said, I think that would be a cool guitar. I'd like to see that because it would be interesting for me. It'd be one I'd actually consider buying too, especially because I like the idea, because he loves, why? He fits all of my requirements that I like. He plays a certain guitar all the time, even though he has other guitars. He always plays the one I did the mod to, and I fixed up the green PRS single cut. I played his guitar. That guitar is sick. So, that's a guitar. When I sent it back, I was like, yeah, I can see why he plays all the time. I really enjoyed it. So if PRS was to clone that guitar, the color, get it right, and do an SE model, I think that'd be great. That'd be fun. And his channel will get some funding from that. Obviously he'd make a little money on the side. We get a cool guitar. And it would be the first, to me, representation of like the industry recognizing the community that we have here. So not so much honoring him as like he's famous. It's just kind of like, hey, the truth is there's this online gear community, because although we're all on YouTube and you guys, there's 823 of you watching. I hung out last Saturday with all you guys at the Sam Ash. I did that because I want to hang out. And what I've learned is we've built, not we meaning this channel, all of these channels, all of you guys that sit here on these live chats and make questions. When I hang out and I watch so many other channels and I see so many of you on this right now that are commenting on the other channels too, that's a community, man. That's awesome. And especially when, the guitar players, we need the community, because, there's so many other things out there that are, I just read an article today, NASCAR, which I'm not into, but NASCAR is down like 45%. So the reality is not that I'm afraid of anything going away. I just like, I'd like to be able to talk about what I want to talk about, guitars. So, let's see. Rodney has a question. It says, do you shop through Reverb? I do most of my shopping through Reverb. I go to eBay. I don't have a problem with eBay, but I go to eBay when I can't find it on Reverb. I always look first on Reverb. And sometimes, admittedly, I don't look on Reverb to see if it's slightly cheaper. Or sorry, I don't go on eBay to see if it's slightly cheaper on Reverb. I just pay the Reverb price. But I always reach out on Reverb. A little thing, important thing to know. I have never really, how do I say never? 99% of the time, I've never bought anything on Reverb without reaching out and asking for a deal. And almost every time I got the deal, and I don't mean the offer buttons. I mean, I just email them and say, hey, even if it's $5, I bought something for like $1,000 and asked for $5 off. Yeah, just because. Why not? You know what I mean? It's $5. It's a coffee, and maybe they give it to me, and they did. I think if you ask anybody with respect, hey, look, I know you got a good price, but I can't help it. you gotta ask. It makes you feel better. And sometimes, they say no, they can't wiggle. They don't have any room, and I buy it too. But I like to ask, because I feel weird if I don't ask. Like, that's an opportunity lost. So Sarang says. He gave me 10 million. I don't know. So I don't know how to read the currency that he sent, but it's 1,000 of that currency. So let's see. Hey, Phil, sorry, late to the show today. Was playing around with the new Mooer preamp live, and the new 20-watt tube engine power amp, and the new 112 with V30. You should definitely do a review of these. Did you see the Summer NAMM this year? I didn't see it at the Summer NAMM. I didn't see that stuff. And I would love to review that stuff. I think I'm going to, that's a product I would definitely like to check out. Mooer pedals and Mooer products are products that I like a lot. In fact, you hear it last week with Lawrence, or if you saw it, the Mooer pedals, one of his favorites is one of my favorite pedals too. I really like Mooer pedals and Mooer products. They have been really good to my channel, sent me stuff to review and stuff. And it's just really hard to get to the reviews. It's because I can't do a video a day. I just can't do it. I don't have the time. You know what I mean? When I start doing too many videos, if you guys notice, I'll start doing more videos and then I stop. It's because, man, you got to pay the bills. And this is unfortunately not how I pay the bills. So anyways, so the condensing them into shows, I think it's going to help. And I think it's going to be fun. And that's the other thing too. I got to have fun doing this. I've said this to you guys before. Somebody asked me about a live playing, live. If you're not having fun, they're not having fun. If I'm not having fun, I can't expect you guys to. I need to have fun. And so there you go. All right. What else? What else do you guys got before we go? We got some time left. Marissa. Okay. It says, did the Orangewood ukulele cool off? It did. And the video soon. Okay. So here's the good news. What I don't know, because I won't do final edits until Monday on them. I can tell you this. The ukulele, the Orangewood ukulele is either in this Wednesday's, let's see if I can do it off memory. It's either on the 8th. Right? Oh, I'm gonna do it on memory when I'm cheating. I'm looking. Yeah, it's slotted for either the 8th, which is this Wednesday coming up, or the 15th. And the reason is what I did, so you guys know, is if you watched this week's just past video, which was on Wednesday, where I did multiple reviews in one video, what I did, or what I'm doing is I'm reviewing lots of products and then editing them and then like almost like Tetris, slotting them into a video to fit. Does it make sense? So I can put at least anywhere between 3 to 5 products per video and do like a montage thing so you guys could see different stuff. But I want to make sure each product gets its, it's a proper amount of time. Plus, what I did, if you guys didn't see on that video, you can actually click the card, did you like this, whatever. And based on you guys, because I can look at the metrics, based on how well those videos do and how those products do, that gives me the ability to a longer video. So there you go. So Hanner Gunson, what's up, Hanner? It says, just for the good work and an apology not to be here lately. Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while, man. I missed you. It's good to see you. They, you know what? Yeah, and you haven't been posting stuff on your channel that much. I have to check that out too. At least I'm not getting notifications, so I'll check that again tonight. And then Netzer442 says it's hot. Have a beer after the show. Yeah. I might do that today, man. It's Friday. It's definitely been a good week, but a long week. So Friday feels good. So, although tomorrow's not my Saturday, unfortunately, tomorrow I got some fun and work tomorrow, so it's good. So, okay, what else do we got? Mark Kang says, "Hey Phil, will you ever do a build kit?" I am pretty sure that Crimson Guitars sent me a tele kit. If they haven't, it's definitely coming. I've had communications with Crimson Guitars, follow up on this. I think maybe I dropped the ball. Maybe I didn't respond to them a couple times. So I apologize to them about that, but I did respond to them and get it all sorted out. So they're sending me a tele build kit, and I'm going to do a special tele build kit, video. So it's going to be fun. Something I've never seen on, a lot of the videos. That's the whole point. I just don't want to do a kit build. I want to do something like, hey, let's do something fun. So the answer is yes. Hopefully coming soon. All right. What else you got? Mark says, is YouTube your full-time job? No way. So YouTube is nice because it makes good money and it's nice. Unfortunately, what I discovered with YouTube is that the only way for a channel like mine to make money is to stop investing into the channel. And that's the trick. So, does that make sense? You know what I mean? You're constantly like investing, you know what I mean? Think of this, just changing the room around costs money and stuff, and trying to keep things fresh. So no, it's not what I do, for a full-time job, but I do a lot of hours. YouTube is at least 30 hours for me a week. I have this is tough for me to say because my wife says that I do 50 hours a week on YouTube. I feel like I do 20 or 30, but I don't know. Sometimes I believe her more than me. I tend to always be working. It's just it's a personality flaw, or I don't know if it's a flaw. I don't think working's a bad thing. If you guys notice, that's why when I'm doing these restring events, me and Ralph are having a blast. We don't mind working. Working's good. So, okay, what else you guys have to say? Will wants to know if Crimson Guitars does a tele with a Floyd Rose. Not that I saw. Not in their website. I went on their website. They had a tele, a Strat, and a Les Paul style guitar. I picked tele for a specific reason. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. But no, not one with a Floyd Rose, and I won't be adding a Floyd Rose to the one I got. So. John D says, how do you deal with YouTube copyright issues? I don't have any YouTube copyright issues. I've never had one. I'm very diligent about what I do on my channel, especially as it has grown and you get more eyes on it. So what happens is, like, I did a song, at the GitCon where I played a song with Phil X and Robert Baker on stage. That was a Scorpion song. YouTube took half the money for that. They take half of whatever you make. And give it to the artist that wrote the song. That's fine. But no, other than that, I've never had a copyright strike and I don't have any copyright issues. I use copyright-free music in the videos, or I use my own stuff. I've not had issues. Could I have issues? Oh yeah, people get copyright strikes. Like I said, it's the Wild West out here. So all you can do is be, you know what I mean? All you can do is, I don't know, do your best. So, yes. Zazie says, Phil, is all your income from music related things? Yeah, I've been in the music industry now for 16 years. In fact, I can tell you this, 100%, everything I own, all my guitars, my car, my home, everything you see me own, I have purchased with the money I made as a being in business. I've been an entrepreneur now I haven't worked for a company in the sense of having a job. Like I haven't had a job. I haven't had a job. Oh, I'm trying to think now. It's been a while. How many years is that? 15 years, 16 years. So I'm going to work for a company in 16 years. So in 16 years, I have worked for myself in this industry, in the music industry. Yes. And the trick is, so you guys know, this is a good conversation. This is, I talked to Tim Pierce, if you guys know who Tim Pierce, and hopefully I'll do a video one day at his studio. We talked briefly in Maryland about doing this. If I'm in LA, coming to his studio and doing a video together. I wanted to talk about this. This is a thing I always, I think is interesting that people don't understand about the music industry or industries like this. People that, like him, like a studio musician, or whether it be, you know, sometimes pedal builders like Lawrence Petros, or me. What you find is people learn to make money using multiple revenue streams. In other words, they do many things, not just one thing. So that's what happens. So, okay, so. And of course, one of the things I do to make money is I repair guitars, and don't make this is so you know that I have the problem with repairing guitars is simple for me. I have more guitars to repair than I have time to do. So that's where the YouTube thing kind of chumps into that. You know what I mean? Chomps into to doing repairs. If I wasn't doing YouTube, I have another business as well, but I would probably do repair the majority. In fact, my dream one day, I think, is just to do repair. So some of you guys are rejoicing right now, like, good, get them off YouTube. But some of you guys probably like, no. But Tim Pierce, Daniel says, does Tim Pierce have a signature guitar? He does not. Man, the guy deserves one, though, right? The guy's phenomenal. He's probably one of the best guitar players I've ever seen. So, yep, Tim Pierce, no signature guitar. So he's a good one, too. Maybe Pierce, right? Henry Gunn said, future YouTube's strong. YouTube's fine. They got tons of money. If something comes and kills it, they'll buy it. It's like Budweiser buys all the craft beers, right? That's just how this is working. Now, I don't want to go with the too big to fail. But if your question is like YouTube, the community, how does this work with the, you know, it's fine. You know what I mean? The reality of this stuff is it's fine. You know what I mean? I mean, my channel is bigger now than it was last year, and it was bigger last year than there. And I thought it was going to be dead by now. It could die tomorrow. Who knows? But realistically, I mean, the numbers I produce now are vastly crazier and larger than I did a year ago and then the year before that. So channel growth seems to be, and even channels that don't seem as big, when you look at their numbers, they're still producing at a really good rate. I think right now, though, I think we're all burnt out on certain types of videos, though, which is why I always I'm putting time into making something different, not because of any other reason than if I'm sick of it, you're sick of it. Maybe I'm wrong. So if I'm wrong, let me guys know. Maybe you just want the same time videos again. Okay, what else? All right, Sean says, Phil, amps behind you are all on wood slat shelves. Do you play them there or do you move them to the floor? General advice for guitar playing. I play them there. I like having all my amps up off the floor. In fact, behind me is, I switch around a lot. Right now I'm using a Marshall 412. It's on wheels. I like all the stuff off the floor. That's just for me. You know, my joke is your nears don't have, I don't know what I'm trying to say. No, your ears don't have, your ears don't. See? One more time. Your knees don't have ears. So I don't face my amps at my feet and my knees. I like them tilted at me or up off the ground, a little bit tilted. So, you know, I have these little wedge things. They're not in there now. I take them out for the videos just so the amps look a little neater. But I have this little wedge thing and I shove them in the amps and it tilts the amps back and I'll tilt them at me. Just EQ a little differently. That probably is not I can't. I'm not saying to do that as a recommendation. Maybe that's because I played bass for so long. Just I want that stuff. So, Jim wants to know: do you need compensated saddles for a telly? Nope, you don't need them. Not at all. They're nice, but no, you don't need them. Think of all the millions. Well, not millions. Think of the thousands of hit records and songs written on Telecasters without compensated saddles. Let's just say it can be done because it has been done. So, all right. There was a question I just saw. I want to go back to it because it was really good. Hold on a second. So, man, so many questions. There's 843 of us. Yeah, a lot of people are commenting on the YouTube too big to fail. Again, it's not too big to fail. You know what it is, man? You know what it is? It's like right now. I want to get back to guitars, but with the channel, if the channel was to shrink a little bit, I want to grow the channel. Don't get me wrong, because growth means more freedom, right? Let me give you an example. The bigger this channel has gotten, the less crap I've had to take from companies. And that is without a doubt. It's just the reality of it. It's like when a company's, the smaller your channel is, the more it seems like if you want to work with a company, the more they dictate to you. But the bigger the channel is, the more the company's like, whatever, as long as you're happy. That's what you want to hear being said, because I've worked hard to do this, to build this up and build it the way I have. So it is because, and there's pitfalls to that. In fact, I don't ever want to really do a video on like how to do YouTube. It seems like there's so many of those videos, and I don't think a lot of you care. I don't think I would care how somebody does YouTube, but I don't know. I think we're getting sidetracked. Too much YouTube talk. Max says, guitar hanger, Phil? ? I use string swing. I only use string swing. In fact, I won't tell. I just use string swing. It's the only product. It's the only product I say that about. Like somebody was asking about Stu Mac tools. You know what? I like Stu Mac tools. I buy Stu Mac tools. If you buy Stu Mac tools, that's great. If you buy other tools, that's great. I still have a video coming out eventually to talk about the difference, between buying non-Stu Mac tools and other tools. Not which one's better or worse, just these are options. $2.99 versus $20, whatever. There are options out there to save money. But string holders, wall hangers, string swing hangers, I don't compromise on. It's all I've ever used. So it's what I like. I make enough money to buy nice guitars, but not enough money to let those guitars be ruined, because I just don't have the money to throw away. So I buy quality stuff to put my guitars on. Nick says, what's the turnaround time to send you guitars repair? Unfortunately, I don't do the shipped in guitars. I've done a couple here and there. Man, it's just so expensive for the end user, and it gets a little tricky. So to me, it's local. And you got to understand, and if this helps, maybe it does. I mean, I was repairing guitars in the Valley for over 12 years, and I have a huge clientele of customers. So when I stopped, doing the shop, and I was just doing the YouTube and the other stuff, it's just my phone all day, it's just texts, people needing repairs. So I still do them. And especially because I love doing them. That's what I love doing the most. It's where I'm the most happy. Okay. Why is that PRS? Here's a good one. Michael Maiden says, why is that PRS swinging now? It's because it is 100. Someone just put it. It was a Zim. It's 110 degrees here, man. It's 110 degrees. So I have a fan going, a ceiling fan going. It has to, man. It's too hot. It's 4 o'clock or 3:58 here in the afternoon, and it's the hottest part of the day is in the afternoon. Okay, hold on one second. I'm gonna grab something real fast so we can hit, and we'll try to hit this out with the good ones. Justin Mabe says, hey, Phil. Hey, Justin, by the way, did you see I was wearing the gold top your gold top shirt for the restring event. I bought one. I had to. I love that shirt so much. And that's good way to segue into, so you guys know, the shirt of the month for August is the SG you guys were talking about. So it's a red SG. Ralph got to pick that, by the way. He decided that the SG would be red. So there you go. So there's red SG style guitars this month as shirts. And again, as you guys know, if you buy the shirts, you're supporting the channel. That's how the channel gets supported. It's supported by that stuff. You know, I tell you guys, I constantly look at different ways to monetize the channel in a way that, you know, to help it grow. But just, I don't know. The only negative I had was, and this is funny because I'm going to tell all you guys, I had this thing where I was telling people on the channel, which is why defeating the purpose I'm doing now, that I don't charge for reviews and I don't charge for videos. And what happened was about a bazillion companies sent me emails asking me to review products. I never thought in a million years that telling you guys that I don't take money for videos was going to do what it did. So now I just tell the companies, I have Sean that takes care of it, and I just tell them to send them an insane amount of money to. So if you ever see a video where it says, because all my videos is discloses whether or not a company sent me a product or I bought the product, but like I said, if anyone ever pays me, it'll say paid for. If you ever see that paid for, you just remember I got paid really well. So then you don't have to worry anymore, because because I have them send them whatever price I think is, I don't know, they won't want to pay. What else? Oh yeah, see, Joe's like, what about a Cherry Burst SG shirt? I don't know. It's tough. I don't know how they would do the burst on the colors. Lauren says, do $1 million. Oh, that's $1 billion. $1 billion for a video. They, I just want to do products I like. So, or you know what it is too? I want to do products that the companies like the channel too. I find this whole, just because I'm breathing and you guys watch me, they want to send you product. It gets a little sad. Okay, what else do you guys got? We'll sum it up. We did an hour. Okay, so somebody said Chapman guitars ? Was there a question about Chapman guitars? I saw he's got a new line of Chinese ones, it looks like, semi-hollows. Yeah, you got to repost, guys. When you guys have a question and you don't see me answering it, it's literally like, who says it best is like Ralph. He's like, when it's scrolling, man, it's just luck of the draw if I can catch your thing. Phil Wilson says, still upset with Lightning Boy? No. You know what? No, of course not. I get over that pretty fast. You can't let that stuff weigh you down, man. The bad vibes. I haven't. Jim want to know if I've tried the Katana Air, man. I haven't. I have not. Okay, so here's the question. Ready? It's from Cario. Says, do you feel like Chapman guitars are a product of YouTube PR, or are they quality products? Well, one doesn't have to be exclusively different than the other, right? So we know as a gear community that there is a ton of YouTube type products. Panama amps, right? Let me put it this way. I want to play devil's advocate on both sides, and then I'll give you an opinion. Is it bad that a company utilizes well, let me put it this way. If Chapman guitars came out this is 2018, right? So if they came out in 1998, Chapman guitars would put ads in Guitar World all over the place, right? And we would look at the ads and not think anything of it. We'd be like, oh yeah, Chapman guitars. You heard of those? I don't know. They're in the ads everywhere, right? So now the new format is to put them in these YouTube videos and Instagrams. So Chapman utilized that. And he's not the only one. I mean, geez, the amount of people that are utilizing YouTube is insane. In fact, there are, I can name right now, but I'm not gonna, but I just want to let you know, I can name 10 YouTubers right now that I know that make $100 grand a year just reviewing product. So that's not even a thing. So obviously there's money in this business, without a doubt. But So utilizing this format on both sides is not a bad thing. In fact, it makes sense. Where the gear, you're watching videos about guitars because you're into guitars. When I'm not making videos, I'm watching them on YouTube just like everybody else, because there's a ton of channels I love to watch because they're fun, and I like gear. So that being said, I don't think utilizing YouTube as a product category is a bad thing. However, what I think you're kind of getting at the core of your question is it a product of YouTube? In other words, is it all hype and there's no base there? Well, the reality of that for me is that Chapman is a brand put on a product. No different than, and I've said this before and I'll say it again. Once the companies, and we're not the only industry to do it, we're probably by far the last one to do it. But once a company, let's say, look at all the companies that had started as being, built in their factory. I'm not even talking about USA made versus overseas. Built in their factory. Once you start outsourcing product to other companies, to other factories, you're running the risk of the fact that anybody can now get product like yours and put branding on it, and branding will be powerful. So here's a good example. Look at Hello Kitty. Look at all the products with a Hello Kitty logo on it. Look at all the products with a Nike logo on it. I collect Swiss Army knives. I have a Swiss Army backpack. Swiss Army didn't build my backpack. They don't make backpacks. They don't even know anything about backpacks. What does a knife company know about backpacks? They put the logo on the backpack. I like their product. I saw the backpack. I bought it. So that's branding. So Chapman basically said, hey, why don't we take the guitars that everybody's ordering overseas and put our brand on it, since we have so much ability to get that brand power out there through YouTube. But I think there's substance behind it. But we know what the Chapman problem is. Everybody on YouTube, I think, knows what the Chapman problem is. Watching the YouTube videos, they're very consistent. They don't have a consistency in quality because they're a small company. That's their issue. And that's something that's what we take for granted with a company like Fender. You know what I mean? That has it's like they're not their first rodeo. They've done this before. They know how to get the consistency of guitars out there. We make fun of Gibson for having bad quality, but the reality is Gibson's the majority of the guitars are quality. We know that because look at the sales. If people are right and Gibson makes horrible guitars, then there's no way their guitars are selling. There's just no way. When I did the restring event, I had somebody bring me a Gibson. They said it's horrible, and they were talking about all the quality issues, and they were right. But I also restrung about 6 other Gibsons that were fine. That's, you know what I mean? So that's the ratio. So that's the thing. But there are products on YouTube that I believe that were YouTube hyped and then they died. You know what I mean? There's just stuff. And I don't want to name them because I think I'll be contributing to that death if call them out. But I don't think I need to tell you guys, because you guys know there's products that a year ago were all over every YouTube channel, and now you can't even, you don't see them anywhere. They didn't have any substance. So I think Chapman is a perfect example of someone who utilizes the market, put the product out there, but then because there's some substance, it's sticking around. So there you go. There's my thoughts. So Michael Costa says Anderton stated his return rate on Gibson is 1%. Yeah, I don't know. That could be just his personal return rate, and he could be totally accurate. But I know it ain't 50% because, like I said, it doesn't last. So companies can't last if they can't make quality. And you know what's a good example? Here's a perfect example. I'm going to use you guys. 860 of you out there watching right now, obviously the replay. Put in the comments down below when I do the replay of this. Put in the comments right now of companies that you think make horrible product 100%, but yet are still going today. They're literally just, junk after junk after junk. So, and I'm curious, we'll see. I'm curious to see, because you might have some examples where I go, oh yeah. Or I'm, so all right. On that note, I think I'll get ready to let you guys go. I want to thank you guys for hanging out this Friday. It was awesome. Thank you again to everybody who came to the Restring event. If you guys saw that, obviously I did a quick video just to show you guys this week. It was really amazing. And it was fun. Me and Ralph had a blast. I didn't expect to have that much fun, really. I think I laughed the entire day. And also, I want to thank you guys for joining me on here. Look forward to this week's new videos because obviously this week just passed. I put out some new ones, and I think this is a good direction for the channel. And don't forget if you guys want stickers and shirts, we have that stuff, and that helps support the channel. And as always, I want to thank the patrons for supporting these live shows, the podcast, and the website, and everything else they do, because that's awesome. And again, all of you guys is literally, this is why I turn on the computer and this camera every week and talk. And I thank you guys for joining me. And until next week, I guess know your gear.